So on our YouTube page, if you go to the main page, Richard Zane always pops up. And what does he say? Something like, oh, I didn't expect to see you there. So I'm going to try that whole thing with you guys here on TexAgs Rewind. Oh, didn't think that you'd be here. Hey, how are you doing? Welcome into TexAgs Rewind. One of the topics we had on the program today was the best transfers of all time in college football history. You can add that to the conversation by typing below. Give us your thoughts on there. But who's the best A&M transfer ever? Somebody texted the show, if you're going beyond football, maybe Dylan Rock getting some love there. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Comment, share, all the good stuff you're supposed to do here on the show. So that's what we talked a little bit about today. We talked about some of the best college football transfers of all time. We also did TexAgs Idol. A couple of really good contestants here where I got their names wrong. That was a disaster. But they tried out for the fan show, and we had one winner. You have to watch to see how that all plays out. R.C. Slocum joined the show. Coach Slocum, always great to hear from him. He's doing so much better. It was wonderful to hear him talk about how he's feeling and his hopes to be at Kyle Field this year for some great football games. And then we turned our attention to the NFL. James Palmer of the NFL Network joined us. He gave us some of the big storylines out there. You know, the Deshaun stuff, the Daniel Snyder stuff, how the Cowboys are looking. We went deep into the Browns, a lot of different stuff. The Denver Broncos with Russell Wilson, that's one of his big beats. We had that here. It is TexAgs Rewind. We are now going to be discussing the best transfers of all time in college football. And, Obi, I was thinking about this because a couple names have popped up on my timeline. I just started doing the math. Like, man, there's been some pretty dynamic transfers. And I know you're a college football historian, if you will. So I came up with a couple names. I got a couple that'll throw out at you, and I'd love to hear from you as well and from the audience on the A&B text line or the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150. So recently, Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow has to be the best ever.
Yeah.
I mean, he transfers from Ohio State. He wins the Heisman Trophy. They win the national championship.
He's so darn good
and
that
he does it at quarterback.
He's so darn good that he goes to the pros, goes to the Bengals, which are a dysfunctional organization, or they just haven't won, and takes them all the way to the Super Bowl. And maybe if the offensive line blocks a little bit, maybe they win the Super Bowl.
They got dang close. So, yeah, Joe Burrow would be, far and away number one in my mind.
Yeah. No,
I mean, there's a lot of other good ones. Jameson Williams at Alabama just last year was huge.
He was huge for them. And by the way, that's a Ohio State to Alabama transfer. So, I mean, how much better could Ohio State have been had they kept him and whatnot? So that's a good one right there.
Justin Fields,
yeah.
And then you Hunter Goodwin.
Hunter. I got one for you.
Okay.
J.J. Watt.
I didn't know he was a transfer.
Central Michigan.
I knew he was a
to
walk-on.
Wisconsin. He was a walk-on, but yeah, he started off at Central Michigan, transfers to Wisconsin, has to walk on to the team.
Oh, okay. I see how that worked.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I didn't know that.
So, and JJ didn't win at the highest level, obviously, but just, he's become a Pro Football Hall of Famer in the future, in my opinion. Randy Moss.
Yeah.
A lot of transfers.
Yeah. And there was a lot of reasons for those transfers.
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
Notre Dame, Florida State, Marshall. Yep. One right down the road, Cam Newton. Then he started at Florida State.
Well, he started at Florida.
Yes, Florida.
And then he stole somebody's computer.
Yeah.
Got in trouble, so he ended up at Blinn.
Yep.
And then from Blinn to
Auburn. And he won a national championship.
And the Heisman Trophy. But to me, there's a little bit of difference.
Okay.
In that you didn't just transfer from Florida to
Yeah,
you got in trouble, so you ended up in junior college, and then I don't know if it's the same going from junior college.
It's not like what Joe Burrow did.
No, what Joe Burrow did, no.
No.
You can go back. Vince Ferragamo was at Cal as a quarterback and transferred out and went to Nebraska. I think they won a Big 8 championship with him at quarterback.
Yeah.
You probably find a lot of quarterbacks.
So we're going to start things off. You got a little bit of list of the questions, and we're going to start things off with this. Which player or coach has had the biggest impact at A&M over the last year, and why?
To me, for a coach, you'd have to say Schlossnagle, because what he did was just amazing, getting this team to a College World Series, and we weren't even picked to we were picked to finish second to last or whatever it was, and nobody expected anything from us, and we made it to the Final Four. And I think excitement for Aggie baseball is the highest that I've seen it in a long time. And I went to a baseball game last year, and it was just dead, and nobody cared. And for that team, or for him to do that with this team this year is just amazing, I think. And it makes me very excited for next year.
All right. Good stuff there.
Yeah, no, it was sound. I disagree, but it was a sound and reasonable response. I still would say Jimbo Fisher because the number one recruiting class and all that has come from that.
You got to hold on to that thought because we have another guy going who may.
Well, I'm just saying this. Okay, but the point is that even if I disagree, I can give him credit for a sound, rational response.
All right. We're going to put him on hold because we're going to try to do Jeff Leopold here.
Oh, we're going to do it that way.
We're going to do it because
you're throwing me curveballs.
I threw a wrinkle to these guys. Whoever goes next has to have a different answer.
Oh, so you didn't tell me that.
So we're going to go to Jeff now. And Jeff, welcome to TexAgs Idol. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, good morning. How we doing?
Doing well. Thanks so much for joining us. So here's the question. Which coach or player had the biggest impact on A&M athletics in 2022? If you can, unless you have an amazing argument, pick somebody different than Sean just did.
Okay, well, I'll give OB his second curveball, and I'm going to say Bobby Taylor. Here's the reason why. He has gotten a lot of credit already, but we don't even know what the class he just helped recruit is going to do yet. So give it 3 or 4 years. We're going to see what happens. I think 2024 is Texas A&M's year. Those guys will be in the system, in the program for a couple of years by then. That's going to be A&M's chance at a title. So Bobby Taylor, who it's not even mentioned all too often, but he's a great football player himself. But he was an outstanding recruiter for the 2022 class. He helped bring them all in with the assistance of Jimbo Fisher. They're going to bring a title to Texas A&M. Bobby Taylor all the way.
I like his thinking.
But is Bobby Taylor? Didn't you the question say coach?
No, player or coach.
Oh, player or coach. Oh, all right. My bad.
So you weren't listening, OB.
Well, I just finding out. I guess.
Yeah.
My bad on that.
So RC, I know that you and Olin caught up a few months back, and we're so happy to see you doing so much better. But just give us an update on how you were doing, how your life is going. How are you feeling?
Well, I feel really well. I still don't have. I've got some, I'd say, balance issues. I can get around. I'm actually trying to play golf now. Not playing as well as I would hope, but that's always been the case. But it's fun to be back out when my guys would come by and on the golf course back when I was going through treatment. And I said, man, if I could just be out there on a sunny day with you guys, I wouldn't worry nearly as much about making a double bogey. But so now I'm getting to see if that's really true or not. But I think I'm doing fine. I'm making progress. I've been told that the balance and neuropathy issues will get better with time. And so I'm just trying to be thankful for where I am. I feel well. I'm sleeping well, eating. I gained all my weight back. I'd lost 30 pounds at one time, but I gained that all back. And so God is good. I'm doing well.
How often do you try to play?
Oh, maybe once a week, sometimes maybe twice. I went out on this past Saturday to the 12th man summer board meeting last Friday and Saturday, and I played down there last Saturday morning, and that was fun. But usually, once a week, maybe twice. Sometimes I play twice, but most of the time about once a week, and they go hit balls one day or something. But it's been really hot, which takes some of the fun out of it.
Oh, it's been ridiculous out there, Coach. Coach Slocum here with us on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. So just kind of take us through the journey, how difficult it was, getting the diagnosis and going through the chemotherapy and everything you had to do and how you had to stay focused in order to be where you are today.
Well, it's been almost a year. This is almost the anniversary about now. I was fine. I was playing golf and working out at the ranch and doing basically whatever I want to do. And I've been blessed. I never missed a day's work in my life from being sick. and just, felt pretty good. And I had a little cough that I had from time to time. I had no other symptoms, no sore throat, no anything. And my wife kept quizzing me, what's that? Where's that coming from? And it wasn't, if it was all the time, I would have been concerned, but it was just occasional. So anyway, I went to the doctor and said, I want to, find out what's causing this or whatever, and took a chest x-ray, and then they saw some things they wanted to look at some more, so I took a CT scan, and then it showed that I had lymphoma. And so I went to MD Anderson and got diagnosed and tested down there and got on a schedule. And I asked them if I could possibly take the chemo here in town at Baylor Scott and White. I'd actually served on the board out there for a period of time and knew them and was impressed with how they did things. And so they allowed me to do that. So it saved me from having to drive to Houston and fight that traffic to get down there. And because it's a progressively downhill. I never had the nausea that a lot of people you hear about going through chemotherapy. I never had that, but I just felt weak, very weak, and just listless, and just, no appetite, had trouble sleeping, and just, it's an ordeal to go through. And I'm so thankful that I could do it here, at least sleep in my own bed or try to sleep in my own bed at night. But that was a 6-month deal. Every other week I took the chemo. I took a lab early Monday morning to see if my white blood count was up high enough that I could take the chemo, and I did that. And then that Wednesday and Friday, I'd go to the hospital and take a Zarzio shot to boost the white blood count. And the following week, I'd go Monday, Wednesday, Friday to take that shot, and I'd be back to chemo again. I did that for 6 months. But fortunately, after 5 treatments, I was tested, and the cancer was gone or in remission. And the doctor wanted to continue the treatments. I was ready to say, okay, we're done. He said, "Oh, we got to keep pushing through." I said, "Well, you're the head coach, so if that's what you think we need to do, we'll do it." And so I went through all 12. I finished November 29th was my last one. But because of COVID, it was way worse because I couldn't have anybody over. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go out to eat. I was pretty much just confined to, during that period of time, I was at home or at a hospital, and that was no fun. I went through a whole football season, first time since I was in junior high, I guess, I didn't see a college football game in person. And so that was disappointing. I got to watch some great games. I watched the Alabama game, of course, and I enjoyed watching that. And, but anyway, I feel very fortunate that I'm back somewhat normal activity now, and feel good about it.
James, one of the best games I've ever seen or ever saw was the Kansas City-Buffalo game last year. I think Buffalo is obviously one of those teams that you can see huge things from in this year. They add Von Miller, obviously an Aggie great. Just how do you see Buffalo's season playing out?
Oh, man, I was at that game, and I was tasked to, post-game interview on the field, and I'm standing on, Kansas City sideline, and then the camera crew and I were sprinting over to the Bills sideline. We're like, it's going to be Josh Allen. No, it's going to be Mahomes. Back to the other side. We're running back and forth through the end zone trying to figure out which side we have to be on. Just an unbelievable game. Best one I've seen in person for sure. And I've been to a couple of those Super Bowls with Brady that were pretty remarkable, specifically to come back against Atlanta. But Buffalo, I think Vaughn is, and I talked about this on NFL Network, and I've covered him a long time in Denver, and I consider him a friend. We are going to see a different defense because of Von Miller. And not only because he's a Hall of Fame player that I still think has something left for sure, but because when 21 people go to the pass rush summit that he runs, and 4 of them are Buffalo Bills players. It was Vaughn, and he brought 3 of his teammates. Already shows you the advantages that these young players in their first and second year that are pass rushers behind Vaughn are already getting. And they kind of sat together and conversed together at the summit, I'm told, and just worked with Vaughn a lot. He's been working with offensive linemen there. They just haven't had that premier pass rusher that draws extra attention. They just haven't had it. And now, with every other piece pretty much solidified on that team, and star corner, safeties are great, maybe the best safety duo in football, Vaughn is going to bring so much to that locker room. Specifically, what he's got tattooed on that left upper thigh of his is a Super Bowl 50 MVP tattoo. And those guys haven't been there, and he's done it twice now and won an MVP in the Super Bowl. I think what he brings intangible-wise, David, and what he brings in terms of obviously still a ton of skill is going to change that defense in a sense. It's going to be really fun to see Buffalo, who we already saying like the last couple of years, they're getting over the hump. Like they're a Super Bowl contender for sure. A lot of people consider them the best team in the league, and Vaughn has a big part to do with that.
James, last thing for you. I'm really intrigued by some of the big personalities that are in the NFL that you've gotten to interview. Not sure how much contact you had with Gronk before his retirement, but just how much fun was having him in the league, and if you did have any interactions with him.
Yeah, I had a bunch, man. He was my go-to guy in New England, because usually my job is I helicopter in these beat guys. I've been in Houston, crush their beats and do a great job around the league, and they're there every day. I had come in on like a Friday for Sunday's game and trying to get as much information as I can, and Gronk was always my Friday go-to locker room guy. And I'll say this, like, people think meathead, like Gronk is, just big, strong, Gronk see ball, Gronk catch ball. He is so much smarter than people think. And he knows how to play the game. He knows how to do everything, that surrounds the league, as well as playing. We remember how difficult that offense is. He leads the NFL in touchdowns for a tight end his rookie year, and then breaks the record his second year. He's just unreal. We've had so many hilarious encounters. I was down in Tampa, when COVID was going on for a month. I lived down in Tampa to be there for Brady's first training camp and seeing Gronk on a daily basis and just getting to shoot the breeze with him. He always gave me information on the side. He always was able just to give me a little something extra that nobody else had. I remember I posted a video on my Instagram. I thought for a chance I'd be the last person to interview him as an active player before the Patriots Super Bowl. He did one last interview that Friday with me. And I was like, "Is this your last game in the NFL?" And he just looks at me and goes, "Yes, no, maybe so." Fucks off. And he's just been a blast to cover. I think he's the greatest tight end of all time. And the aspect of enjoying football and making it fun is hopefully we get more guys like that in the league that are just so good at the game, but also have such a blast playing it. And it's so much fun to be around him. And honestly, people may not know this. This is the last part I'll say. He is so much more giving with his time than probably people know. And I think that's a big aspect of the game, of just how much fun he has. He loves spreading that with kids and all different stuff. So it's going to be fun to see what he does after football, because the dude just loves life, and he just makes you enjoy your job. As he talked about the first part, all these other things that go around the NFL. He's the guy that makes you really enjoy your job.
All right, so have you commented below about the best transfer of all time, and how about an A&M transfer? Who's the best of all time? Is it Dylan Rock? You can tell me that. You can tell me whoever you want it to be. I don't care. It's your opinion. It's not my opinion. That's why you write it on here. We want to thank T-Mobile. Visit T-Mobile.com/AcrossAmerica to learn how you get more value and coverage through T-Mobile. We will see you guys next time on TexAgs Rewind.